Hey, welcome to So You Want a 3D with me, Chris, over at 3D Palace. Okay, so as you know, I'm all blue, and this is 3D Studio Max 2019. 2020 came out, must be about 3 days ago, but I haven't bothered downloading it because all you need to do is crayon 2020 at the top, and it'll pretty much be the same. Okay, so this is designed for people who aren't used to 3D Studio Max, or perhaps have seen some really crap tutorials and didn't understand what they were doing and just want to get on with making something cool. Alright? Now, in 3D, we have a special collection of things that all 3D artists count as cool, and that includes spaceships, robots and guns. And today it's going to be a gun based on a Warhammer 40k staple, which is the bolter. And that's been chosen because it's just metal boxes. Okay, and the reason I'm showing you how to make that is because this tutorial is designed for people what haven't done not much 3D before. Now, in 3ds Max, when you first start up, this is pretty much what you'll see. You might see a little window over to the left here as well. If you've never used 3ds Max before, wow, okay, fair enough. If you have used it before, hi, and if you're very experienced, you're obviously watching this because you know that I tend to wander off and do different things while I'm recording. Anyway, all my work will mostly take place in perspective. So what I do is I click yon big arrow here, which is maximise viewport toggle, or Alt and W, look, I'll use a hotkey. Oh, that was Alt and S. There we go, Alt and W. Okay, just, that's all there is to it. And I tend to build most of my stuff using this, which is the plane, okay? Now, as you see over here, in our standard primitives, we have all sorts of things. We have boxes and spheres and cylinders and toruses and stuff like that. The four that I tend to use tend to be the box, the sphere, the cylinder, and the tube. Okay, those ones get everything done. Now, to use them, dead easy. For a box, we decide where we want one corner of the box to be. So, say just here, and I click with my left mouse button and keep it held down. And then I drag it out until I have the box kind of whatever shape I want, maybe a big rectangle or a lovely square, whatever. Then I let go, and then I can drag up or down. Okay, you'll notice in the height it goes positive or negative, and click again. And now I have a box. Okay, if I hit F4, you can see the 6 polygons that make it up. And if I go over here to my modifiers, I can do things like add in little numbers into my length, width and height to give it more polygons. See, so that's each side now has 100 polygons times 6, that's 600 polygons. Dead easy. Or I can drop it back to 1. Now you may think to yourself, well, is there much point to that if it's lovely and straight like that? Well, there is and there isn't, but we'll come to that when we need to. Okay, other things, remember? The sphere, again, click from where the middle will be and drag it out. What about a cylinder? Drag from where the middle of the cylinder is. Out, let go, and then up, just like with the box. Slightly more complicated for the tube. Click, come out, let go, and drag, click, and then up and down. But you'll get the hang of this, okay? It's not hard. Now, what we're going to do is just make a very, very simple kind of bolter thing, okay? Just so that we can get started. And we're going to be using things like move and scale and stuff like that. This is not going to be high detail, it's just to show you what you can do, really. So, I'm going to get a box and I'm just going to drag it out to roughly the shape and size of a bolter. Okay, so that's round about what the barrel shape's like. Alright, next I'm going to make this box active, where it says auto grid, and that means I can draw on top of it if I want. Okay, I'll delete those, but I was just kind of demonstrating to you. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use another box and just draw it out. Okay, say about that big, and up a bit. Okay, and I'm going to show you how we can do all the very basic stuff in 3ds Max. Okay, so you get this weird kind of bit here, and just increase the height. There we go. And it's all very, very basic what I'm doing here, but you're kind of getting the idea. Okay, now at the back, I'm going to do another box. And you think to yourself, well, how many boxes can you have? Lots, lots and lots and lots of boxes. Okay, and I'll just drag that off. And as you start to see now, we start to get a more complicated shape, don't we? Okay, well, what else can we do? Well, I'm going to press G and get rid of the grid now, because I don't need it. And we could probably do with just a very simple kind of hilt. Well, not hilt, what's it called? You know, the bit that you hold. I don't know much about guns. I'm not very good at it. Grip? Yeah, probably. Okay, so I'm going to pull that down and do that. Now, here's our first thing. That isn't right, is it? Because that's not the angle they go at. So, if I press E, that gives us rotate, or I can go up here and click the rotate tool. Okay. I'll just angle it. There we go. Into there, like that. Very basic, isn't it? But that's okay. We're just doing some very, very basic stuff. Now, what about a magazine? Well, I could do with a magazine, so I'll do another box, because it's all about boxes, isn't it? And maybe our magazine will come out of here and come down like that. Okay, and that's about right. Okay, so what about my bit where the bullets come out? The barrel. Well, I can use a tube for that, can't I? So again, auto grid, remember? And I'm just going to drag out some more, and do that. As you see, it's a simple result, but by golly, it's starting to look a bit like a gun, isn't it? Okay, and then what about a little detail piece at the bottom here? So I'll bring this up, and we could do with perhaps some iron sights. That's what they have, isn't it? So I can do another box here, and then I'll do another box here. Okay, and we have some sights. And what about a trigger? Well, trigger's going to be a bit more complicated, isn't it? How are we going to do that? Well, again, we can just use a box. So I'll just bring that out like that, and I'm just rotating around my model. Do that, and then inside here I could just use my piece here just to make a trigger. It isn't really very difficult, is it, when it comes down to it? So let's just increase the height on that a little bit. Okay, and I'll use the rotate tool just to rotate it forward a little bit, because triggers tend to be slightly forward from what I've seen in various pictures of them. Okay, so let's say a teeny bit more detail here on whatever the loader thing would be. So I'm just going to put a box on it again, boxes, and I'm going to come down to about there, to about there. And let's see, maybe just make the length here a bit higher, and I'll just bring that down there. Oh, marvellous, isn't it? Okay, and anything else I need to do here? God, this is taking no time at all, is it? We've already made a gun. How marvellous. Well, I don't think the trigger's quite long enough, so I'm going to bring that down like so, and across. Then I'm going to take this, bring that to about there, and I want to angle this. And all I'm doing is just basically cheating. I'm just embedding it into the other part of the model, you know. And you can do this. You don't have to use editable polys if you don't want to. If you're just doing this for your own sheer joy of modelling, then do it any way you choose. Okay. Alright, so that kind of works. I mean, it's a basic magazine, but it'll do. So if I now explain to you why having more segments can be useful. So if you look, I'll just increase my segments to maybe about 10, okay, and I don't need the other ones, I just need these ones. And then what I can do is I can go over here, okay, where it has this little drop down modifier list, and just click B for bend, and then increase this angle, okay, so let's say about 25 degrees, and just change the direction it's going into about 90 degrees. There we go. Okay, and that, my dears, believe it or not, is a very simple bolter. Okay, now as you can see, it didn't take me very long to make, and we only used some very basic 3D Studio Max tools. We just used this, which is a tube, and a load of boxes. But that's all really that anything ever is. 15 years ago, a student of mine asked me how I would break down a complicated shape he had, and he offered me $2,000 plus flights to come over and show him. And I said, I don't need, well, I was stupid, I mean, you know, but I said I don't really need that, you know, I'll just show you using a video. And I showed him in 10 minutes. You just build your basic shape, your basic form this way. So, I hope you found this useful. If you want to show people what you've done, I mean, I realise it doesn't look absolutely fantastic, okay, but for you, if you've never done 3D before, this is great, you know. If you've managed to follow along and make this, you've made a bolter, you've made something that looks like a gun, and you should be very pleased with yourself. Okay, and if you want to render it, a simple way of doing it would be just to hit F10, okay, and that'll bring up your scanline renderer. And then if you go to output size, custom, and maybe just make it, I don't know, 1280 by 740. Get it right in the middle of your screen there, like that, and just whack render. And there you go. That's all there was to it. You now have a rendered out image of your gun. And like I say, sure it's basic, but you can do it, and that's cool. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you watch some more of my tutorials. See you later on.